Good evening, good everybody, good morning everybody, whatever you are in the world, good day. So today we will be talking about the North African and the Western African environment and how it used to be before the desertification. I wish everybody a happy new year. Today is the 29th of December, so it's cheerful and beautiful. And with this winter, let us begin this episode of this series of covering environments. So, as you know, guys, I've been covering certain topics. I know my efforts here are very, humble, and yeah. So, but it makes up for, I think, in the quality, the information, and some stuff like that, and the creativity. So, I hope you are enjoying, anyways, and benefiting above all. So, anyhow, what did the North African or the Northwestern, let's say the Northwestern African environment looked like before the desertification? Well, basically, a lot of people are not aware of this, but North Africa and especially Northwest Africa and these areas, even the whole entire of Africa almost, these areas that we know today as the desert environment, they never used to be that desert. So if we talk about that, that's a long way back into that dates to a long time ago, and that's I would refer to that in another episode, because the main topic tonight or today is about the North African, like for example Atlas Mountains or the West African environment. So countries like Mali, like Chad, like even Mauritania, although Chad is not in West Africa, countries like Senegal, like Algeria, like these areas, and even Morocco. So these areas are not what they used to be, unfortunately, by today. And why is that? There are many factors that led to the extinction of many wild animals. This area is so fascinating because the environment and the wildlife there is something that is I can't find words to describe it except like in a fairy tale type of a environment. Because for example, the North African Atlas Mountains, you had the Barbary lion, you had the Barbary sheep, you had the Barbary leopard, you had, even in some places, you had the Barbary Atlas bear. So, and the strange thing is that even in Mauritania, which is a Western African country, although it's part of the Moroccan and the Maghreb region and the lands of these North African nations, the strange thing is that our forefathers, like our grandmother and even our mothers and fathers, they used to tell us some stuff like today's world children, they are not they did not study a lot about this wildlife, about these niches, about these biological niches and these beautiful natural worlds. But so often your mother or father or even your grandfather and mother would tell you, hey, we used to have lions, we used to have elephants, we used to have spotted hyenas, we used to have this and that, and you would just sit there and be amazed and baffled, and you just can't believe it, because right now you just unfortunately nowadays most of the land that is hospitable by humans is no longer hospitable to wild animals, which is another problem, because wherever humans go, these factors include hunting, the destruction of the habitat, the natural habitat of these animals, a broad range of factors that are not only the results of man-made factors, but also natural factors like the desertification, because most of these lands also used to be much better than they are today, like the drought. Some of them used to be even much more, let's say fertile, much more naturally, suitable for these animals to live in. But unfortunately, it's just unfortunate to look around you and to see that there are so many native species when I study in the books of nature, or even across the resources online, or even documentaries. There are so many local species that went extinct, unfortunately, like so many places around the world. And Northwest Africa is just another example, because the natural environment of any place is so unique. And for some places, once this natural preservation, like nature preserves itself in states that are, like, let's say, the footprint of these, places are ideal and are unique and special to every location, every area, every biological niche. So once you, unfortunately, start to play around with environment, hunting, habitat destruction, and all of these things, this does not help the local population of wild animals. And if you go around the world, you will see so many places that are well known that used to have, for example, some wild big animals like tigers, like lions, like wolves, like it's just disappears with wherever this urbanization and human colonization and human civilization that encroaches on these areas. And this is so resembling of the 21st century and the 20th century and so on, recent human civilization. And I can't stop being amazed at so many people who just, it seems they can't understand, or they are still in denial of the fact that your civilization as a human being, whatever nation you come from, is the reason why these wild animals went extinct. Because let's face it, wherever farmers, for example, go, they need to protect their herds and all of that, and they can't share their herds with wild animals and all of that, and the risk these animals pose and all these things. It's just unfortunate for the wildlife to be at a disadvantage, so big of a disadvantage that they just can't compete, and they end out losing. And so many videos, so many documentaries have been warning of this. So I remember when I used to read the natural history books, and when I started to make the transition, like shifting from the natural history books to modern stuff that talks about natural order of animals and these things, I was amazed at how many species exist in every environment. And it's just so strange when I opened, like when I was way younger, like back when I was in primary school, and then when I got into high school, I started to understand that there are, for example, some species of animals that just don't exist. Just back like 60 years ago they used to exist, and they are no longer existing right now. And that made me like I was so amazed, so intrigued, but at the same time I was so shocked at the rate of extinction. For example, and right now, for example, Iran itself, it once was the homeland of the Persian lion. And the lion of Persia, it was well known, it was well documented in the history of the Persian Empire. And unfortunately, it's just decimated. Like back in the 1950s, I guess, or the 40s or 60s, around the mid of the past century, the last lioness was killed in Persia. So this is so strange. And even in the same land, for example, Iran, they used to have the Hirkan tiger, or the tiger of Persia, and unfortunately that one went extinct also. Combination of human, habitat destruction, hunting, and all these things. But also the natural world is no longer as it used to be. Like humans have colonized the land, all of it. Like barely, not even an inch is left for any wild animals to exist naturally and peacefully without the disruption of humans and hunting and whatnot. And that's also another problem. Humans now have vehicles, so there is no place on earth that humans now can't reach, and that's another problem. I'm not saying the earth is not big enough. Of course there are still some wild animals small or big, still out there living, whether in protected areas mostly or even on the no man's land. But this is very rare, and they are also not doing well anymore. Although, you know, we hear recently about some, you know, different cases of wild animals that are recovering and all this, but it's not that of big deal, you know. So that's very interesting. So that's the topic this time. I'm gonna be focusing on other topics next time. And with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what type of topic you want me to make a video on next time and what you would like to see. So thank you very much.